The Trump administration just marked a historic 6 months in the White House with hundreds of investigations launched into universities for discriminatory DEI policies, men and women's sports, and anti Semitism. Through it all, the White House has provided transparency to both the press and the American people. Today, I'm welcoming a guest who's seen the action behind the scenes, giving us an unscripted and unfiltered look into what's going on at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. As a campus reform reader, you might know her from her more than a dozen investigative articles exposing liberal bias on college campuses. She's also been featured in outlets like the Wall Street Journal, Fox News, Newsmax, and more. At Campus Reform, we've launched over 200 careers in media, and we're proud to say we helped shape this young journalist. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Macy Gunnell, who spent her summer interning in the White House. Macy, we are so thrilled to have you here in our studio.
Thanks so much. So excited to be here.
Okay, let's dive right in. What does a day in the life look like working in the White House?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Where do I even start? It is different day by day. The first thing I learned there is that things move 100 miles an hour constantly, all the time, 24/7. So every single day is going to look completely different, which I guess is what's so exciting just because there's so many different people you're working with every single day, so many different things, places you're seeing, so many different meetings. It's really impressive the speed that this administration is moving at, and I've seen that for myself. So to clarify, I'm an intern with OMB, which is Office of Management and Budget. So that department specifically, we are running 1,000 miles per hour every single day. So things are different every single moment. Sometimes I'm in the West Wing, sometimes I'm, off campus at different events. It's very unpredictable, but that's what makes things so fun and so exciting, and honestly so promising for me as an everyday American, because this is something I've been able to get a little peek of on the inside, and to be able to see this efficiency played out in real time behind all these closed doors, it's been absolutely amazing.
I've heard people from the White House say that everybody has to run on the Trump sleep schedule,
Yeah.
which is like 4 hours of a night, I
Yep.
think. I mean, you know better than I do.
Right.
What's your perspective on, I mean, we talked about the workflow you just mentioned, but what's your perspective on your sleep schedule and just the fast paced nature of every single office within the White House?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Every single person in the White House is 100% dedicated to pursuing the administration's attempts to restore American sovereignty. And that comes at the expense of personal life, sleep, all of that. But the thing about all these Americans that are working in the White House is they are so willing to do it, and it's so inspiring to see. Yes, every single person is very heavily caffeinated and on very little sleep, but like no one bats an eye because they know that that's what it takes to fix everything that happened with the previous administration, because they left us with some pretty tough things, but especially with things like ICE, things going at the border across our nation, even across the ocean. Like, there are so many things that need to be prioritized, and you can't get that done if you're just operating on an 8-hour schedule. So everyone is so willing to be there all the time. Especially, I've been able to see a lot of interesting things with the Homeland Security Council and the National Security Council. They are there all hours of the day. Like, there are times where I come back to work the next day seeing emails from like 3 a.m. It's absolutely insane. But that's what it takes to put Americans first. And every single person in that White House is so willing to do it.
Well, I can assure you that being a reporter on the other side of things at Campus Reform, we're reporting all of the investigations that the Department of Education has launched. And just the speed and the timing, it feels even crazier to be reporting on it because
Yeah.
things break in the middle of the night. Things are breaking constantly. And we have to get here to the studio. We have to get write ups. We have to get articles posted. We have media hits where we're talking about it, talking about what the administration's doing. So it feels just as insane
Right.
on the other side of things. I want to talk about President Trump earlier this week, I believe, shook the hands of all the interns. You've had an experience where you got to be around the president. What was that like?
Yeah. Honestly, several times. Yeah. It's been so amazing. He's a lot taller than I expected. But just the energy that this man has is so impressive. Because, like you said, I mean, he is operating on very little sleep every night. And he is still just showing up every single day, giving it his best. And he is just such a rock star at what he does, obviously. He's so commanding. Again, the energy that he brings, the professionalism that he brings too. Not only that, though, but I think the biggest thing that stood out to me about President Trump is the joy that he brings every single day. Like, he is just the most kind person I've met in a very long time. At first, I was nervous the first time I met him because I was like, oh, like, this is the president of the United States, but he is just so kind. He's so like down to earth, and it's just so amazing. Because again, like, sure, I'm an intern, but I see myself more so as an everyday American. And to be able to have that interaction as virtually nobody from the cornfields of Indiana, like I joke about, to be able to have that interaction with the president, it's so inspiring. And it's just completely opened my eyes to how amazing this administration is underneath his leadership.
Well, most Americans just know him from his social media posts,
Right.
where we get to see the way that the text is written is exactly the way he speaks. So we feel like we know him,
Yeah.
but you've seen exactly how those posts are written, how they're drafted, how they reflect what the president is thinking in the exact moment. What's your experience been like working on the other side, actually getting to see those media posts posted
Yeah.
before the American people, like myself, get to see them when we're scrolling on our phones?
Right. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is like every single statement that goes out by the president and on his social media accounts, 100% is him. It is like he is notified of every single thing that's being done in the works, every single thing that is coming up. He approves it, and that truly is him. But of course, there's going to be times where there are some behind the scenes efforts that need to come before those, and that's what's so amazing is there's so much collaboration behind every single post, every single thing that's put out. Just so much intention to every single thing that's released. And that just, again, as an everyday American, that's just so assuring to me because I see how much time and effort truly goes into every single little statement, every single little post. There's just so much care and so much time and love put into every single thing. And again, like that's just so amazing to see that we have a president who cares so deeply about every single thing that comes out of that White House.
I also want to point out that this is a full circle moment. I got to meet you in Sarasota, Florida at our Campus Reform journalism training a couple summers ago. We got to add to your skill set that you brought to the White House.
Yep.
We went through days of training, days of focusing on reporting, focusing on writing talking points for media. I got to help train you, and so we're so thrilled to see that you've been able to bring those skills to the executive branch. It's so exciting. But question for you: what brought you to Campus Reform in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am a student who comes from a very left-wing college, and I've seen how, in a small scale, it affects students, it affects Americans, it affects so many more people than you think it would. So that's why I was so drawn to the Campus Reform mission because it really has so much more of an impact than you think it would. What's happening at these universities? So that's why I was so drawn to the mission of we need to bring these things to light because this has a huge impact on so many more people than just the students. So that's why I immediately joined Campus Reform when the opportunity was given to me. I immediately joined in guns a-blazing and write as many articles as I could, just because the future of America really is at stake, and all these things, like all our our freedom, our sovereignty, they die with the current generation if we don't do something to fix the rhetoric that we're being taught, if we don't do something to fix these educational institutions, because there's a lot of problems going on. And thanks to Campus Reform, we've been able to see a lot of things get fixed, a lot of things brought to light. So it's just an honor to be part of the mission.
Well, that is so wonderful to hear
Yeah.
from the other side of things. And what sort of journalism skills do you find are most helpful in your current role? And then we have to go back. How did you even land this opportunity in the first place?
Right. So, starting from how I landed this opportunity, I am very blessed to be there. For me, it just kind of came down to hard work, who I knew, the Lord put me where I needed to be at the right time. So thankfully, I was able to meet the people who were very excited to bring me on after they saw some of the skills I was coming in with. Because I'm a communications intern with OMB, so they were very attracted to the skills that I had in messaging, the experience I had messaging, a lot of it thanks to Campus Reform. So that's definitely a huge thing I was able to bring in, and a huge skill I think I was able to capitalize off of in my time at the White House, all the way down to messaging. With Campus Reform, I see the importance that every single little word has and every single little statement, the power that words can have, and that's something I have used every single day at the White House is just the power of words and the art that it takes to just craft like the perfect message to communicate to the American people because they deserve the best transparency. So to be able to be a part of that has been such an honor. And again, it's such an art, and I'm so grateful to be able to have been able to learn that from Camps Reform.
Also, every single word, especially
Yes.
posted on social media or posted by anything with this administration, is picked apart by the media.
Yes.
So you have to be so particular
Yes.
with everything.
And art, you have to be so intentional, every single down to the ands and the does. Like it's such an art, and it's been so eye-opening to see the time and attention that goes behind every single thing put out by the administration. And again, to be a part of that has just been so amazing.
Well, something I think gets overlooked when we talk about people working in the White House internships are not paid.
Nope.
You are not doing this for the money. You have dedicated your summer. You have volunteered your summer. You've been a public servant to the United States. I think that says a lot about your values as a person, your conservative values. What motivated you to take on this role?
Right. To me, it's all about giving back to the country that's given me so much. I see how privileged I am to be an American. And there's so many things about me that I just have to thank my good old Midwestern roots for. So any chance I can have to serve my country and to serve the people around me, I will take it for sure. So again, this internship has not been about the money. I've been on very little sleep the entire summer. I am looking forward to actually finally getting some good sleep whenever I do go home. But again, it's not about me. It's not about the money. It's not even about the fame. It is about doing what I can to serve the country and the people around me because I know how lucky I am to be here. You look overseas and there are so many young people who just don't have the rights to do anything that we can. Yet there's leftists domestically who love to scream about how oppressed we are. We're not. Look overseas at like Somalia, look overseas in Iraq. Like people do not have the privileges that we have here. So to be able to play a part in the administration and to be able to serve my country, that's just the biggest honor. And I would do it free. I would do it on 0 hours of sleep. Like it's just been such an honor to serve the country.
That is dedication. And with that front row seat you've gotten behind the scenes of this administration, you know what it looks like behind closed doors. What's something that you think that the American people might not see on the other side of things, but you wish maybe that the American people could see like you are able to?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is the heart of the people behind the movement and behind the closed doors of the administration. It's so much more than just the president and the vice president. It's the cabinet members. It's everyone beneath all the cabinet members. And the biggest shock to me going in was I thought like, oh, I'm a nobody. I'm just a random Midwestern girl from the cornfields of Indiana. But it was so inspiring to see that there are more nobodies like me in the administration. There are people from all over the country who come from everyday roots. So they understand what it is actually like to be an everyday American. And that's for me what is so inspiring because they actually know what the American people need and what they deserve because they are the basic everyday American. And it's just been so cool to see the heart and the passion that all these people from all over the country bring. And it's been so inspiring to meet people from all different states, all different backgrounds. Yet all united with one purpose, and that is to serve the country because they're everyday Americans too. They've lived it. They know what's at stake.
What would you say is the most shocking thing about working in the White House this summer?
Most shocking thing. Oh boy. Um, I think the West Wing Navy mess is really good. Sweet potato fries are delicious. That's the biggest thing. Other than that, uh, the people, there's so many people from so many different backgrounds. A lot of hard work goes into it. Not only that, not only the people, but just the organization behind it and the efficiency. I knew coming in that things were going to be going a million miles an hour, but I did not anticipate to be going actually hopefully a million miles per hour. But I think alongside that, also just the joy that these people have. I came in, thinking like I need to be professional, composed, which obviously is important at a place like the White House. But still, every single person there is just such a happy warrior for the country and for the movement. And it's just been so inspiring to see how joyful everyone is. Like, I walk in immediately, I'm greeted by just the most kind-hearted people ever. And of course, the fake media, liberal media is not going to tell you that. They're going to want to paint all these White House staffers as just the most mean, horrible people. They're not. They're the funniest people I've met ever. So kind, so willing to help anyone, especially us interns as well. So it's been so cool to see the people and the heart behind the movement, behind the walls of the White House.
That's so great to hear, and we have a great intern program here at the Leadership Institute too. And of course, I hope they can say the same exact thing. And we're so welcoming with our interns. We love having them around. We have a lot of interns that work in press and communications here too, who maybe have somewhat of a similar experience too, working with social media, working with reporters like your offices do. But I want to go back to your campus. You've previously said that you are one of the most hated students on your campus
For
because
that.
you fought to keep men off your campus.
Yep.
And we report at Campus Reform men invading women's spaces, men invading women's sports. You were a conservative on your campus. You put a target on your back by fighting to keep men out of your women's only college, St. Mary's College. What was that experience like? How did it shape you? And what advice would you have for young women who might be in a similar circumstances?
Right. So, super long story short, starting from day one, I was a sophomore. I was 19 years old, and I found out about this policy that would admit transgender women to men. I was terrified. I had always been a conservative at heart, but I wasn't like super into politics. There's no way I'd ever like step out and do anything to try to fight this. But it really came down to the people that it impacted. I saw how many girls around me, how their lives would be completely torn apart by having men in their bathrooms. There was no plan to administer this policy, so there would have been men in women's in the students' dorms as well. So there's so much chaos that this would have brought, and it really opened my eyes to that. So to me, it came down to I can either stay silent and let this ruin so many lives, or I can speak up and really make a difference here because it's more than just me. It's more than just the girls here. It's about the history of the school. It's about the people coming after me as well. So I spoke up. I organized a rally of a lot of students, a lot of supporters across the nation. We were able to stage a mass financial boycott, and it got reversed within about a month. So it was not easy. I wish I could tell people like, oh, hooray, it was super easy. It's, anyone could do it. I think the biggest thing is it came down to numbers. It came down to who I surrounded myself with. So that's my biggest message to girls like me who might unfortunately be stuck in situations like me. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be terrifying. It's still even scary to look back on. I can't even believe I did that as a 19-year-old. But it's all about the power of the people behind you and the power of the movement that you have, even if your numbers are few. Because trust me, I'm still public enemy number one on that campus. There's not many conservatives, but that doesn't matter because we have the numbers behind us to do what it takes to stand up for truth and faith. And at the end of the day, truth and faith always wins. So it's not easy. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be so worth it because it's so much more than just the little campus. It's about spreading the message to the nation that we're not going to take this anymore and sanity is coming back. Which, as I've seen in this administration, sanity is coming back. So it's been really inspiring to see how this movement has definitely snowballed, and it's continued throughout the rest of the nation and throughout other college campuses.
Well, sticking to advice for Gen Zers, what advice would you give your peers in helping them land opportunities like you have with this internship?
Right, hard work. We live in a merit-based society. It's all going to come down to the work that you put in. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be rough. Nothing worth having is ever easy. I am someone who I feel like the odds are kind of stacked against me. Like I said, I'm virtually nobody from the cornfields of Indiana. I grew up with a single dad. I lost my mother when I was 14. I had to work in warehouses to afford to go to school for several years. But that doesn't matter. Don't make excuses. Don't let your circumstances define who you are and what you become. So that's one of the biggest things. You can't play the victim. You just got to suck it up, deal with it, and work hard. And that's how I got where I'm at. I got out there. I, ravaged every single penny I had to come out to DC. I was here in the past fall doing an internship, and it's all about getting out there and getting your name out there and meeting people as well. So it's hard work. It's not gonna be easy. You just gotta suck it up and do it. I don't know what to tell people these days. Like, yes, it's gonna be rough, but you gotta do it. That's called hard work, and that's what's gonna get you far these days.
Hard work, dedication, no sleep, and lots of coffee.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, and that's what it sounds like this administration is running on, and you know that
Yep.
firsthand.
Mhm.
Okay, last but not least, what can our viewers expect next from you? You're going into your senior year of college, right?
Yes.
What's next?
Well, I'm definitely not done at St. Mary's. There's definitely a lot more going on that I want to fight against. Not just at St. Mary's, but also colleges across the nation. So I'm looking forward to staying a part of the movement. Other than that, I'm just looking forward to doing what I can to stay in the movement, to stay involved, and to fight for our future because Gen Z, we're an amazing generation. There is a lot of hope, but it's going to take, like I said, it's going to take some more hard work. So I'm looking forward to staying in the movement however I can. Looking forward to coming back to DC after I graduate and working hard. But no matter what, like I said, it comes down to hard work, and it's going to take every single one of us. So I'm taking that message to heart. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to continue to do the work, even if it's not what I want to do. I'm going to stay in the movement, and I'm looking forward to doing it because it's more than just about me. It's about the country. It's about the people around me.
We are so excited to see what you accomplish in the future. And thank you so much for being here today. You are just one of the fantastic young journalists that have been a part of campus reform. So we can't wait to see what you do next. And from writing on campus to walking the halls of the White House, it's so inspiring to see young conservatives like Macy, what they achieve when they stay bold and committed to the truth. And to our viewers, if you're a student who wants to follow in Macy's footsteps, you can head over to campusreform.org and learn how you can get involved today. I'm Emily Sturge, reporter for Campus Reform. Thanks so much for watching.